Welcome to Google Sheets training for everyone. This is lesson number 19, and this is going to be formatting part 2. Now, when I started preparing for this lesson, I thought, why did I divide this stuff the way I did? Because I feel like part 1 was like 75% of the formatting, and this one, part 2, is going to be 25%. So this is probably going to be much shorter than part 1 was, but hey, whatever. All the videos just all go together and you just watch them all at your own pace anyway. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about formatting again. We're going to cover one little thing that I didn't cover in part 1, and then we're going to jump over to some couple of other, I guess you could say, bigger things for formatting. So let's, well, before I get to that, just as a reminder, bottom right hand corner of the video, there is that settings cogwheel. You can click that and you can make sure, A, that you're watching this in full high definition so that you can see everything clearly, and then B, you can change the speed of the video to watch it at a faster speed. If my pacing is a little bit slow for you, you can change that. So don't forget to do that. All right, so I'm going to jump out of the way, and we're going to jump over to our spreadsheet here. And there's no grid lines here because we disappeared them. So I'm going to make them reappear so they're there. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about, we talked about the different formatting up here. We talked about formatting numbers and how you could do that. We talked about basic formatting like fonts and bold, italics, and fill color, and then putting borders. We talked about merging cells. All these things except for this one, text rotation, we did not talk about. So we're going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to highlight this copied table that we copied down here, and I'm highlighting just the headings. And now you see text rotation, and you have a visual picture to show you what you can do here. None is just how it is. You can go tilt up, tilt down, you can stack vertically, you can rotate up, rotate down. These are the ones you're going to use the most. So let's just try tilt up. And so you see when you tilt up, now it's like they're at a slant. And now within this, because we're tilting up, you might want these to be aligned a little bit differently because we talked about alignment last time. So I'm going to go up here to vertical align and put them in the center. And then I'm going to go up here to horizontal align and put them in the center there. So now you can see that looks a little bit better since they are tilted up. Let's go back to how they were to begin with so that you can see other options. We're going to go to stack vertically, and that's where you have one letter on each, not really a row because a row would be this whole thing, but one letter return, one letter return. Doesn't look as good with lowercase. You'd probably want to do all uppercase in order for this to look right, but you could do that. And once you've done that, and you might want to adjust the columns now because you don't need all that space when they're that way. But you can see how that's an option. Let's go back and to the beginning again. You can go rotate up. So now it takes up about the same amount of space, but now it's just the words are literally sideways. So you kind of have to turn your head to see them. And usually not as good as I think the tilt up, but there is the option. And you can do it the other way too. You can rotate down so that they're down. Or you can tilt down if you want to tilt down. So any of those ways are available to you. Once you do that, you can make adjustments with the alignment to make it look exactly the way you want it to look. But that's, and you also do have this custom angle. So you can go in here and then you can change the angle specifically what you want it to be. If you just wanted it, so that's a crazy tilt there. You can tilt up, but then go and then change the alignment. There we go. So any way you want it to be, just know that you can go up here and change the text rotation. There are certain times when that might give you a certain look that you really want in your table. Let's see what happens if we change it to 75. So that's maybe a more likely scenario where you're just tilting up just a little bit, not a whole lot. So it kind of calls it out, gives it a slightly three-dimensional look to it, or two-dimensional look to it, without being overkill. Because you never want to go overboard with these type of things. But just know that that option is there for you. I'm going to go undo and go back to the basic so that I can jump to the next thing I want to show you. There you go. See, again, remember, undo and redo. Those you can do a million times. You can always get back out of anything you've done if you mess something up. So now let's talk about one way to quickly format a set of data as a colored table. Now I did show you in an earlier lesson the Explore button down here, and this is how we got this formatting. We had highlighted this and then we clicked that button and it recommended this option, and we selected it and it just applied it automatically. But there are other options as well. I'm going to go over to, let's see, I don't want to mess that up. Let's go over here and I'm going to highlight this table, and then I'm going to go to Format, and you see one of the options here, alternating colors. So I click that, and what it does is it automatically brings up this alternating colors helper here, where I can say, is there a header? Because if there, and look, there isn't a header here. This isn't heading information, so I'm going to uncheck that. And then I can choose the color I want. I can either manually choose color 1 and color 2, or I can just choose one of the default styles. So I'll choose the default style and I'll say done. And so now we have alternating colors. Now I can go back to where we were. Let's go all the way back. And this time I'm going to include this total drivers, which I hadn't included before. Actually, it doesn't make sense why that's there. So I'm going to Control X to cut, and then Control V to paste. And I'm going to go here. And this time I'm going to go to Format, Alternating Colors. There is no header, so I'm going to unclick that. But there is a footer, because this bottom part is a footer that doesn't really connect to the rest. So I'm going to say Footer. And then I'm going to select one of these built-in. Let's go with the green. And you can see you've got your white as color 1, light green as color 2, and then the footer a slightly darker green. Generally speaking, when formatting, you have your header and your footer in a darker color, a little bit more of a standout, and then more of a simple change just to differentiate lines inside the chart. So there you go. Really easy way to quickly format a lot of data. Let's see. Let's go over to, I'm trying to find, I don't want to mess up something I've done. This is kind of one that's been done before, but let's highlight this. And then let's go to Format and go to Alternating Colors. Now this does have a header, so I'm going to leave header checked. It does not have a footer, so I'll leave that unchecked. And I'm going to go here, and you'll see it has the purple, dark purple header, and then the white and light purple on the inside. But if I wanted to really change it up, I could say, well, I want the header to be purple, but for the lighter color, I'm going to go with a really light blue. And then click Done, and now you can see the header is dark purple, and the inside lines to differentiate between the lines is white alternating with light blue. So you can do that, and then you could go in, and we talked before in the last lesson, we talked about borders. So you could then go in and add borders to really polish this off really nicely. We also talked last time about formatting text color. You could go in and say, because that's a dark purple, I'm going to make the text color white, because that stands out a little bit better. So really easy to take a table and quickly format it to a look that is good and works for you. So that's the easy way to do it, using Format Alternating Colors. So now I want to talk about Format Painter. this is a really easy way if you already have a format that you like. So let's say we like the way that this looks here. And we have, let's see, where's that other chart? We have this chart. Now we played with this in the last lesson, but we weren't trying to make it pretty, obviously, because this is very ugly. But let's say we wanted that to look a lot like this. Well, you can highlight this chart, this formatting, and there's your format painter. You can see when you hover over it, it says paint format, and we're going to click that. When you do that, you kind of see that little line shows up similar to copy. And then I'm going to go over to this ugly budget. I'm going to click here and drag to the end of this and then let go. And you can see it formatted this based on this. So it gave it, took away the formatting that we had before and gave it this formatting. Now, you can see it's not exactly the same. First of all, this was bold, and here it didn't bold that. It didn't take that formatting. It took the every other and the slightly darker background and formatted that. So this is one of those things that there's a lot of variations, and especially if you're doing a whole table, it can get a little tricky. You might have to try different things and then undo and redo. But what it's really good for, I'm going to show you over here on the student info, going back to this. So you have one cell that's formatted a particular way. This one cell. It has a background, a fill, cell fill. It's a slightly different font size and italicized, it looks like, bold, maybe a different font's maybe the same, but I think it's a different size. And you're like, I like the way that looks, I want to apply that to the entire header. So I can click the format painter, and now I'm going to click and drag all the way across this top row and let go. And you can see it took the formatting from that cell and it applied it all the way across to everything I had clicked. So that's just an easy way to using the format painter to copy the format only of a particular cell or table, but especially it's easier to work with when you're just doing one cell to single cells, because there's not as much guesswork. When you're doing a whole table, because the tables are different, sometimes you get a little bit different results. But that is how you can do that. You can also, I'm trying to remember when we talked about copy and paste. And I'm going to go over this even if I've gone over it before, just because I can't remember if we had gone over it or not. But another thing you can do is you can copy and paste just a format. So if I copy the contents here, and I'm going to Control C to copy, and then I'm going to Control V to paste, but I'm going to choose my clipboard and say paste values only, because I think it'll work better to show it this way. So right here, this has no formatting. I just pasted values, there's no formatting. But if I highlight this and Control C, and now I click this and I say paste special, paste format only, it'll copy the format. Now because the values are the same, that might not be the best example, but let's try it this way. I'm going to highlight this, I'm going to Control C to copy, I'm going to jump over to budget, I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to say Control, paste special, paste format only. And you can see it pasted the format. Now it, again, when you paste, this is just pretty much the same thing as when you click the paint format and you select. It's, if the table you're pasting is not exactly the same, it doesn't have the same number of rows and stuff, and it can be a little tricky. You can see it had the same dark on the header and then every other light and blue, but it didn't necessarily copy it copied some of the borders, It got the dark border. It did get the dark border, so it did copy all the borders. What else was on this one? This one has, I don't know if that was bold or not. I don't think it was. So it didn't copy the exact formatting because of these extra lines down here, but overall, it copied the formatting. If you wanted to be more exact, you could copy just this cell and then paste that format across the top, and then copy these cells down to the number of cells that this has in order to be more exact. So let's do it just to practice, just to see how it works. Let's see, drivers, we have 1, 2, 3, we have 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to Control C to copy, and then go to drivers and go right click, paste special, paste format only. Oh, I lost my copy. 1, 2, 3, 4, Control C, and then drivers, 1, 2, 3, 4, paste special, paste format only. So that didn't seem to work at all. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know why. Let's try the paint format and see if it works that way. Paint format, drivers, it may be because it's not painting the colors, or it may be because I'm clicking a different tab and going to a different tab, and it's not going to work that way. But it should, I would think. So let's try just with one cell. So we highlighted that and click that. Go to drivers, and yeah, it's not holding it across another tab. It looks like. Control C for copy, paste special, paste format only. Not going to do it for me. So it's working inside of the same sheet, but if you go to a different sheet, it looks like it's not going to work if you go to a different sheet. So Format Painter, I don't use it that much, but it is there, and there are times when it's helpful. As you can see, we had this formatted a certain way, and then we were able to format paint and then copy across. So it works good for that. So there are cases where it can work well in order to get certain formatting the way that you want it to be to match something else you've done. You just have to sort of play with it. Remember, there's do and undo and redo. Where there's, I have them here. Control Z, Control Y, undo, redo, or just here, undo and redo, in order to play with it and get what you want. Now, one thing that you're probably going to find really handy is the sometimes you have formatting and you want it to just go away. So we formatted this, we don't like it, we want it to go away. What do? You can highlight it and then just go to Format, and down here at the bottom, Clear Formatting. It takes all the formatting away. Now what it isn't going to do, it isn't going to change your cell height or width, because that's not considered formatting. That's outside the parameter of the table. But it removes the formatting from the individual cells. So the highlights or color fill, the text color, the bolding, all those things. It removes that formatting. It also doesn't change the format of the number when you clear formatting, because that isn't just a visual thing. It can be visual, but that's also going to affect the data itself, and it's not removing that kind of formatting. When you clear formatting, you're simply clearing out the visual formatting. So we highlight this table, we go to format, we go to clear formatting. It just removes the borders, any borders you've put in, any cell fill color, any bolding, italicizing, those type of things. That's what gets removed when you clear formatting. And that's important to know because there are a lot of times when you need to clear formatting, especially if someone sends you something and they formatted it and you hate the way it looks, and or it's just you need to manipulate data and the formatting doesn't work for what you need to do in manipulating and changing the data. Then you can just highlight the whole thing. You can even highlight the whole sheet and clear formatting from the whole sheet. So if we go back over to the student info, if I want all this formatting removed, I can just highlight the whole sheet and go format, clear formatting, and you see it just takes out all that formatting. So now I can see exactly what I'm dealing with and just deal with the data. Because formatting and highlighting and that sort of thing is really for presentation. This is like turning it into this is what you do when you're done manipulating the data, you're done using the spreadsheet, and that way now you just need to show this to somebody. And that's when you kind of add in the formatting in terms of making it look pretty. But generally when you're just working with data, you just want plain formatting with very simple stuff like a bolded heading, but otherwise you want it as simple as it can be. And then you add in the borders and stuff when you're ready to show it to someone or make a presentation. So that's how you clear formatting. Yeah, I think that's it for this lesson. I just want to make sure that you're clear on the, or not clear, but that you understand a text rotation for a heading, that you can rotate the text so that it displays differently. Then B, being able to really quickly add in those colors by highlighting a table and then going to format and going to alternating colors. You have the option to include a header and a footer. And again, this doesn't bold or anything, it's just your fill colors to kind of spruce up and make it look pretty. And so that's an easy way to do that. And then using the format painter, where you can take something and highlight it and then click the format painter and then paint. As you saw, there's different some that's a little bit tricky to work with, so you just kind of have to play with it. Sometimes it works exactly the way you expect it to, and other times it doesn't. It's not something that I use that often, but there are occasions, as you saw with the student table, when we wanted to take format from a single cell and paste it or paint it across multiple cells. That's really the way in which it excels. That way it works great and it's easy to work with. And that's the way, really the only way that I use it most. But you can, in certain cases, also copy the format of an entire table and paste it over another table on the same sheet if you want to. And then you can also clear all the formatting just by going highlighting what you want to clear from and then format and then clear formatting, and that'll just remove the formatting for you really easily and quickly. All right, so that is it for lesson 19, which is formatting part 2. Like I said, that was a little bit shorter than the first lesson, but you put these two lessons together and there's still more that you can do that we're not covering, but that covers most of the stuff that probably 95% of the people ever do or use in terms of formatting, both to help you see data when you're using the data, and then also to then help make your data look, for lack of a better word, pretty when it comes time to present that data to someone else. Most of what you're going to need or want to do for that you can do with what we've covered in these two lessons. So hopefully you do find that helpful. If you have any questions about any of the formatting, feel free to post down in the comments below. I will do my best to get back to you with an answer as quickly as I can, or perhaps someone else will see it and be able to answer you as well. Yeah, don't forget to practice. There's a link down in the description below to practice documents for you to play with yourself. If you don't know how to get those, go back to the earlier lesson. I think it was lesson 2 or 3 or one of the first 5 lessons where I explained the process of adding those to your own drive so you can mess around with those. But practice, practice, practice. Then rewatch, because a lot of times you try to do it, you're like, wait a second, I don't remember now what he did. But then you go back and rewatch, oh, that's how I did it. Learn and forget. That's how we learn things, so don't forget to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to favorite this playlist if you want to keep up with just videos in this series, or go ahead and subscribe to my channel and you can keep up with all my videos. I do product reviews and sometimes just random vlog videos and fun things, so you can keep up with those. Click that like button. That's a good way to say thank you. It helps me out. And yeah, that is going to be it until next time. So have a great day.